Well, we're back with Hannibal's Other Voice, and we'd like to bring you another presentation concerning information about our local government that you should be aware of. And today, we're going to give the city of Hannibal a break and talk about Marion County, specifically the compensation paid to Marion County elected officials. Now, for historical perspective here, I think it's well for us to remember that way back in the middle of the 19th century, when Marion County was founded, there wasn't a whole lot of property taxes for county government, and they had to make the most of it. So county officials, just about each and every one of the county officials, was paid on a fee basis. The recorder of deeds was paid for every fee recorded. The sheriff was paid for every paper served. The assessor was paid for every assessment that he made. The collector was paid a percentage of the money that was collected by his office. And the public administrator, for example, was paid according to the probate fee schedule for the estates that the public administrator managed. Now, after that went on for a while, there was pressure on the state legislature to set salaries for these various officials. And that was done, and that got to a point where every office had an association. There was the Collectors Association and the Prosecuting Attorneys Association and the Clerks Association, so on and so forth. And every legislative session, at least one of those associations sent representatives to lobby for pay raise for that particular office. It wasn't uncommon for 3 or 4 of those bills to be before the legislature at the same time. But as time went on, the General Assembly members became weary of that. And in 1988, they came up with the invention of the County Salary Commission. Whether that was a good idea or not, well, you can make up your own mind based on what we're about to tell you. And the idea of the Salary Commission was the officers in each county would set their own salaries as a group. And it would be a percentage of a maximum allowable compensation set by the state legislature. And that goes back to 1988. We've had the Salary Commission ever since then. And it is my understanding that when they approve a salary increase, it goes into effect after the next election of each of those officials to their office. It's not an immediate thing. So what that's gotten us to now is, with our county officials, 5 of those officials, which is most of them, receive $99,147 a year. That's the county clerk, the collector, the treasurer, the assessor, and the public administrator. The sheriff makes $104,445, and the prosecuting attorney, which is now a full-time position, makes $163,400. And the lowest compensated is the coroner, which also used to be a fee position, makes $51,280. Now, the difficulty, or the sort of odd thing about this system, is every county official is voting for every other county official's pay raise, which is an ideal situation for discussions about, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And so arriving at a percentage of the maximum allowable compensation is one where it's easier to take more than it is to take less. And it's easier for us all to go forward at the same rate than for anyone trying to make a determination as how much that particular office and its function should merit. The next meeting of the Salary Commission will be this November, and that will be, I assume, for salaries starting with the next terms of officers elected in 26 and then in 28. Now, what we're here to say today is the biggest problem with this system is the compensation for county commissioners. Now, we have 3 county commissioners. It was changed from the county court that had 3 members from the time the county was organized until I believe the early 90s, when the name was changed from county judge to county commissioner. Now, I would like to give you the benefit of my personal experience in this area. In 1974, I ran for the Democratic nomination for county judge from the Eastern District. And I was fortunate to be able to defeat the incumbent judge and take that office. When I took office, the compensation for county judges was $400 a month, which I thought was generous. My good friend Jerry Sampson, who was circuit clerk and recorder of deeds, said, "It's like finding money on the street." And that's an apt description, because the duty of the county judge at that time, county commissioner now, was to attend a county commission or county court meeting once a week at 9 o'clock on Monday. And that meeting lasted somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 hours. There may be others that were a little bit longer, perhaps some that were a little bit shorter, but nonetheless, that was the work to be done. During my first term, that compensation was raised by the legislature to $7,500, which I thought was a tremendous windfall to me. But the thing that nagged me about that was the chief deputy sheriff of Marion County at that time was making $6,600 a year. So my part-time job paid more than his job paid for full-time work. And we have the same thing now. If I can bring you up to date, the county commissioners, whose salaries, the percentage of their, of the maximum allowable, is set by that salary commission, a salary commission, each member of which has their budget approved by the county commission. So there's a certain concern there. If I don't go along with this percentage, will I pay for it in what's allowed me for my operation of my office? The presiding commissioner now makes $70,930.35 annually for going to that weekly meeting. Each of the associate commissioners, the Eastern District Commissioner and the Western District Commissioner, makes $68,930.25 annually. Now that, I think, is beyond what's fair, and it gets up to bordering on what's immoral or even criminal. So some sort of remedy should be found, should be reached, probably through the state legislature, so that we can have more realistic compensation for our county officials. And I think, especially for commissioners, it perhaps should be a function of a percentage of the lowest paid full-time unelected county employee. If you did that, there would be a tendency to bring up the payroll from the bottom instead of having most of it go to those who are already making a good deal of money serving in their office. Now, this is not intended to be any particular criticism of any county officer currently serving in Marion County. From my observation, they're doing their best. It's just a bad system. So we are urging you to consider that. And if you have a comment to make, not only make it to us, but make it to your county commissioners and your state representative and state senator. Again, we hope that you will find what we're presenting here today as informative and will give us your comments, and we hope your support. Thanks once again for your hospitality and listening to what we have to say.